Hi folks, so we're here today with Michael Kalisperas, and Michael and I have been good friends for quite a long time, and we have done interviews before, but I thought it would be great if Michael could come along today. I've not seen you for what, I don't know, quite a while, before Christmas, because you popped out to one of our events.
Yeah.
And Michael's got loads of stuff to tell us about property, and Michael and I first met in the school playground. I say this, it sounds awful, doesn't it?
It does.
We met in the school playground, but we weren't allowed to be there. You know, we weren't just
got kids at the same school.
Yeah, we got kids at the same
clear
school.
That
That's better. So I thought maybe Michael will come along today, have a bit of a chat, shoot the breeze. We have got no schedule. I haven't got any pre-planned questions, so this could go anywhere.
Yeah.
So we need to be careful what we say here. Yeah.
There's been a lot going on, isn't there?
There has been a lot going on, I think, in both. So what have you been up to? So tell our viewers, first of all, what you have got in terms of property, because everyone's interested in property on the channel.
Yeah.
Why don't you sort of take it from there?
Yeah, I mean, I've
Cheers, by the way.
Cheers.
It's not alcohol.
I stopped investing a good time ago, actually.
But you've got quite a bit of property, though.
I've got 5 properties.
You've got 5?
Yeah, it's not a lot.
Right. So why have you stopped?
I stopped because my passion is, and I always said right at the beginning, even at your event years ago, I always said I just wanted to get a handful of properties, be amongst it, maybe do some flips and stuff like that. So have my own, flip a few, but also focus on me and my family, which is why I went into property. I never had ambitions to grow huge, because I know.
So part of my channel, Michael, is being completely transparent and telling people exactly how it is. So when I first met you, you started buying a few properties, and then you bought an old office or warehouse or something. I can't remember what it was. Turned it into HMO.
Sourced it then, yeah.
Yeah, just sourced it with a view to making things easier for your family. What's the reality of that? Did it make it easier or harder? And we're not allowed to swear. If we swear, then YouTube. But
no, it's not easy. We know that.
Because I know you went through loads of challenges.
Oh yeah, like everything. We had contamination of the grounds. Literally everything. But the thing is, it comes down to this. It comes down to like every course I've gone to, I've literally, and I've been to a few, and many of them have been free. And I did that because it's just dumb not to, as far as I'm concerned. If you're interested in something and you want to level up,
we'll park that course thing. We'll talk about that in a minute. Oh, we're going to go down that already. We're only 2 minutes in.
Yeah, but what I was going to go down and say is, like, I felt I need to network with as many people as I can, because obviously I came out of, I'm still in it really. My son's severely disabled, but I was just coming out of a situation where I was thinking, what am I going to do for like income for the family?
Yeah.
You know? And there was a real pivotal point.
Because you were doing printing, weren't you?
Yeah, well, it was a marketing company, but it was sign writing was the key part of it.
Because that's what you were doing when I met you.
Yeah. So I used to work at the BBC, doing websites and marketing, and from that I moved to Worcester, back up to Worcester, and I started setting up my own business. I did a couple of things, but were doing good, but they weren't entirely what I wanted to do. And then I felt like, you know, coming from the design side, I wanted to create something physical from it. So I went down the print area. I really am getting exhausted. I was chasing my tail. The costs of the machines, the maintenance, everything was just like, you know, you can't, I was the main guy. So I had to go and fix them. And then, I was a designer, I was a marketer. It was like too much. That's what I knew would happen.
You know
so it's bad enough.
What we've got now is, I define this as having 150 children.
That's
what we've got now. We've got 150 children to look after every day. And every day we've got, you know what, we talk about challenges and stuff. Challenges we've got right now, we've got issues with one of our flips. I know we haven't. Yes, we have actually. Right, so what we're working on at the moment, we're moving offices. That's going really well. However, before we can put our lease line internet, because I need fast internet for everything that I do.
Yeah, definitely.
They want an asbestos survey, which is cool. But they want a historic one.
Right, okay.
Because it's an old building. And can we get hold of that? No chance. It's so difficult. So now we're going to have to commission someone at the cost
to make holes.
This is a commercial building. It's going to cost us thousands just to get a lease line internet connection. Everything else is all right on that. Now we've got this police station conversion that we bought. Now we bought this cash from the council and bought it as 2 individual properties, and we've converted it. We're about 400 grand in on this deal. So we're just under £500,000 in, and now we've got issues with planning.
Yeah.
Now, there are no issues because we know what we're doing, but we've got to prove it now. So now the project is on hold until we can go back and find as much evidence as we can to prove the use class. And we know we're right, but it just takes time. So now we can't do anything with that at the moment. And then we've got a flip project that we're working on at the moment that has got every issue that you can ever imagine.
Yeah.
I can't really say too much about that.
There's always going to be headaches.
Because I don't know who's watching it, and I don't want to. So, but there's always headaches. When people say passive income, you know what? There is no passive property income unless you are 100% outsourced.
Once you've done it, once you've done it. And I am outsourced.
Yeah, but you've still got to manage your tenants.
Oh yeah, you micromanage. No, but I don't manage. I have letting agencies that manage.
Are you managing the letting agent then?
Yes, that can happen. That can happen. That's why I call it pockets. There is a possible. You can have it like that. There is ways. But you're never fully, like we said.
And I know it sounds a bit doom and gloom, but we like the reality of this. Now, the good stuff about property is that you can become financially free. I'm not an advocate of saying you can be a millionaire in an hour and stuff like that, but it will look after you. And property over time only ever goes up in value. Now, people talk about this every 7 to 10 years. Now, the last 10 years we've not seen.
Quite slow, isn't
we've
it?
not seen double growth. Over the last 10 years, we've only seen 5% growth out of the UK. But historically, since 1952, get this, I'm Stato man. Since 1952 to 2019, we've only ever seen 8 years out of that period when property's actually gone down that year. The rest of the time, it's only ever gone up. I think we're running at about, at the moment, I think the growth is about 1.8, 1.9%. But we started with Brexit. We started with the government.
What do you think to those stats with Brexit? Because that's been
it's interesting. My opinion on what's going to happen in the market this year. I think that because we've just had our personal tax bills. A lot of people now are going to be, in April this year, a lot of people are going to be at the full Clause 24 tax if they bought property in their own name. So I think a lot of landlords are going to be shedding because of that, and they're going to be putting their properties on the market between now and April because they no longer they're not financially viable anymore. So I think they're going to be discarding those, which obviously is going to bring the market price down because the more stock we have, then the supply and demand levels change. So I think we're going to see a correction in property in the next 6 months, and of course post-Brexit, which we are now, how is that going to look? And I think people are just waiting to see. So I think the market will dip in the next 6 months, but then I think from around about summertime, it's going to start gradually creeping up, and I reckon it's going to get to where we were at the beginning of 2019 towards the end of this year, with a nice steady growth towards 2021, back into where we suspect we're going to be, which is probably going to be around 3 to 5% growth. That is my prediction. So let's have a conversation in 12 months.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I actually think it's going to go up. I really do think it's going to go up. I think you're right. There's people running scared. I think Section 24 will have a slight dip in it. I do think it will go up, like you said, but I think there might be a bit of a resurgence. And I personally think that there are plenty of people out there looking for opportunities. There's still a lot of foreign investors.
Well, we're still buying. We are being very careful what we buy.
Yeah.
But Michael, going back, when we bought our Barben Road project, you know where that is, because you're local.
Yeah.
We bought a project, folks, about, I don't know, probably 3 years ago. I think it was 3 years ago. We paid £1.1 million for this. It's a big load of houses, and we've converted them into flats. But everybody at that time, everybody that I know, and some very big players in the industry told me not to buy that.
Too much money.
Because of Brexit.
Oh, right. Oh, back then?
Yeah, because of Brexit. Because Brexit was just bubbling. And everyone's like, oh, no, stop, no, you're going to waste your money, And in the words of Warren Buffett, observe the masses and do the opposite, and we did that. And we've refinanced all of that property out now, so we're still going through it. But that property cost us 1.1 million. We spent 250,000 on it, and we've refinanced all of it for 1.7.
Yeah,
and people are always there saying, "Don't do it."
Yeah, because I remember, I'll never forget the property. I bought a property in London. And it was in the not the most affluent places because I literally started working for the BBC. London was a lot expensive from where I came from. So I bought in a place called Walthamstow. It's on the bridge of Walthamstow and Leytonstone.
Isn't that where E17 were from?
E17 were from there, yeah. Their postcode was E17, that's right. Yeah. I wasn't laughing. I wasn't into.
I don't know why I knew that.
I bet you're one of these big fans.
I just remember their big padded jackets.
Yeah, a bit embarrassing to be fair. But the property was a massive end terrace on Mark House Road. I'll never forget it. And that property now, I think, is worth around £600,000 to £700,000.
What did you pay for it?
£114,000.
How long ago?
But I had it with, it's quite a while now. It's like 20 years.
Crazy.
But maybe it's under 20 years, just under 20 years. But like within 1 year, I made 50 grand on it. Right.
So, but for you, that was great.
But I only sold it because I
should never look back.
I know, but this is it.
Never look back.
I sold it because I put a letting agent in there, one from the area that talked the talk and everything like that, and they pretty much accepted people that apparently work for Lloyd's on a letterhead, and they ended up squatting basically.
Right.
And it just left me bitter. Tell you.
You know, on a similar vein, property in Worcester, Warndon Villages. So my first house, very first house that I owned, and we're going back. Lorraine was 19. All right. So how old was I? 21, 2. I was about the same age.
Yeah.
So I was about 4 years older. So I wasn't that old myself. Yeah. And we bought a 2-bed. 2 up, 2 down, literally a little box.
Yeah.
And we paid £45,000 for this little box. Yeah. Now, that property, the very same property, has just gone on the market, I think about a month ago, for 178. Right. Now, I know it's not the same as London prices, but it's still a huge growth. And that's just a case in point to say that, you know, property is only ever going to go up in value. It will peak and it will trough. Yeah. But it's in short supply.
What got me worried then? Everyone was saying, prices are too high. People can't afford the affordability.
What year was that?
Was like, I think it was around 2001.
All right, so you would have seen a couple of corrections if you'd have kept hold of it anyway.
Yeah.
But then it doesn't matter.
As you know, just not long after, it took, they were saying at that point, it's going to happen this year. I remember it clearly. And it took 2007, 2008. So another 7 years after that.
But if you own it and you're just renting it doesn't matter whether...
No, it does, exactly.
People get caught up about that.
And had I known about HMOs back then, it had a massive roof, everything.
They were called bed sits.
Yeah.
They were. You know, I've just finished, this isn't a plug, but I've just finished writing or updating a book. Yeah. And it's called Cash in a Property Crash, and I've just finished it. And it was 10 years old. So I've gone back and I've just completely ripped it apart and brought it back up to date. And in my research for that book, I was looking at articles from Rightmove saying, and this was like 8 years ago, the private rental sector is dead. Yeah. You know, and this is 8 years ago. We've been saying this every single year.
This is why I think there's going to be a surge.
Around,
because if you think about it, for the very first time, and I've only been in property, 4 years realistically, everything I've heard has been all doom. And I'm a negative kind of person. I really am the kind of, I think of the worst thing. And it's kind of like ingrained on me because of what happened to my son. You know, you trust people and then you realise that shit happens and it's like, you know, whoa, you can't trust as much. So I'm constantly, but I am for the very first time, I really do believe, I sense it. It's not because of Brexit. It's the market's had, it's almost like an elastic band. It's been resisted growth for quite a while. Yeah. Like you said, it's been slow.
It's been so much, hasn't it?
It's been slow.
The private rental sector's had so much thrown at it over the... I mean, let's just do a quick brain dump, right? What we've had in the last 2 years. I'll go back 3 years. Deregulation Act. Yeah. The Deregulation Act, the Right to Rent Act, the Mandatory Housing HMO licensing that changed in 2018, minimum room sizes, the tenant fee ban, and this year we are looking forward to the Section 21 repeal, the new EPC regulations that are coming into play in April, so that's for existing tenants as well as grandfathered tenants, the new electric safety regulations requirements.
It's never ending.
What else we got?
There's loads.
Brexit.
There's loads.
That will put people off, but that creates opportunities.
It does.
For those that can see it.
And people got to understand that like you've just got to do what's right for you. Don't forget, people made it very successfully in business, in property, by having single lets, right, for many, many years. And they really didn't really get money out of it. They just had an investment in them. Yeah, well, they had people renting in it, and the cost of like accountancy and the cost of them, someone managing it for them, etc. You know, the bits that people don't see, a bit of maintenance here and there. If they had it in the clause that they do it, or the tenant does certain amounts and has a bit of a responsibility themselves, but the reality is a lot of people made good money on single lets.
On growth.
On growth.
I've got two ways of thinking of that, because we've done that and we still do that. But if you've got to look at the return on investment.
Oh yeah, it's not as
you've got to look at how hard is that money working against that property when you can potentially pull it out and put it into something that makes a bigger return.
Absolutely.
And you'll still get growth.
Yeah, the reason I mention it is like the lowest common denominator. So if you've got a house of multiple occupation and it's not delivering for you for whatever reason, the reality is that the worst common denominator, if you can hold it somehow, if you've got enough to cover your bills, which generally you should be able to, even with all these hits, you can, if you can hold it, you can make.
If you've got an appetite for holding it, people talk about no money down, no money left in deals, etc. So let's talk a little bit about that, because do you know what? There's so much flapping around at the moment in the property. We'll talk about. We'll get into the nitty gritty in a minute. Yeah. There's so much noise in the property industry and everything that we do. So let's talk about this no money left in stuff.
Right.
So first of all, it's possible to get hold of your money out of a deal, because that's what we do.
Yeah.
We do it every day. That's what we do for a living. But it's not always a bad thing. Now, people talk about no money left in deals as if it is a good or a bad. It's a bad thing to leave money in a deal.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to retire one day, right? Now, Lorraine, if she's watching this, she won't watch this. She doesn't watch this. Right? She doesn't want to retire. She wants to keep it. No, she's not a fan. Well, she's obviously a fan. But she doesn't want to retire. I do. So when I come to retire, I know that I'm going to need X amount a month to maintain the current lifestyle that I've got. Maybe take a little bit of a dip. So I've got my police pension. That's cool. That's locked in. That's not going to give me the lifestyle that I want, surprisingly. So I know that I need X amount of property in order to cash flow if it was unencumbered to get to that figure. Simple maths. So if I've got a chunk of money, let's say I've got £200,000 sitting in the bank, and I know that I can buy those houses with that money in order to buy that income for life, then that's a perfect strategy. It doesn't matter about locking that money in, because what I'm doing is buying my pension. So for me, when we've stopped investing, we're still buying now, but when we do stop, then we're going to change our strategy. We're going to change all of our interest-only mortgages onto repayment, so they are unencumbered. Then we'll probably sell 50% of our portfolio, keep 50%, and then just retire off the back of the income off that 50%. So that's my attitude towards no money left in deals. It really depends on where you are in your journey.
I totally agree.
And it depends if you want to flip, you can flip. If you want to build up your net worth and build up your estate, then yes, you've got to pull your money back out at some point, otherwise you'll run out of cash.
I think you're spot on. That's exactly the reason why I first of all, I was new to property. The reason I went to 5 and stopped there, one's a JV as well, is because the reality is I wanted to get the speed I wanted to go at.
But you always said that you didn't want a huge amount of property.
Always, from day one.
I remember you saying,
if anybody knows me...
We looked for properties together at one point, didn't we?
We saw one together. I've always... people think... I remember people saying, yeah, right, whatever. But there's one thing that no one can knock me for. Without being big-headed, I've got a lot of integrity. What I say would be real. And I said it and I stick to it. That's how I felt. Now my mind might change.
So what you're talking about now, of getting rid of some of your properties?
I'm going to, the furthest away.
Right.
So what I'm going to do is obviously bring that nearer to me. I'm not just getting rid. Part of what I want to do is sell a couple of them so I can actually reinvest for my son. We want to do a bit more.
What are you going to reinvest it into?
There's just so much we don't know. And I know it's dangerous, obviously, with a child that's severely disabled. There's so many things it just takes money, and it's not NHS funded. In fact, if you go off...
You know what, because obviously, I've got a disabled son as well. And as soon as you put that disability sticker on it, you can triple the value or even quadruple the value. Even a push bike, right? So an assisted push bike for Ben, when he was younger, we would pay something like £1,500 when you could get a bike for 80 quid at Halfords.
It's absolute madness. I mean, I kind of think I'm in the wrong business, actually, if I'm being honest with you. It's like, just buy a disabled manufacturing company. But the thing is like, if anything, I think it'd be great to be able to make it affordable for families like ours. But people they just assume that you're sorted. But it's always
how can you be sorted?
Well, no, I mean, nothing can solve.
Of course it can't. It's a lifetime.
Yeah.
I look at Ben sometimes and I think, it just...
It breaks
you think you've got problems and you think that you're consumed with all of the stuff that goes on in your life. Then you look at your kids and you think, And Ben, and the same with Vasili. I look at Ben. He never moans about anything. Every time I see Vasili's got a smile on his face. Because they don't know any different.
It's crazy because the problem with Vasili is that he's obviously deaf, blind, spastic cerebral palsy, non-verbal. He really is quite trapped, but he still communicates. And now he's got an eye gaze, even though he's been classed as blind, and he does respond to it. So we know, but they can't fully. He's still classed as blind. There's like these grey areas. So we will constantly try for him. The biggest relief has been carers. We didn't have that right at the beginning. But they come and go.
It's hard, isn't it?
It's hard even with them. And then you lose your home.
The other element of that is consistency. So Ben has doesn't any. Well, does he? Yeah, he does. He's got one at the moment. But the problem is they get used to people. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, after 6 months or so, they leave. And then somebody else comes in. And it's bringing someone into your home as well. Yeah. It's not easy, is it?
Yeah, I can't walk down and have a coffee naked at night or something like that.
And people see, they see things on Facebook, they listen to podcasts, they watch YouTube channels. And they think that, it's all right for you because you've got all of this, and it's all right for you because you've got all this property. But they don't know actually what goes on.
They don't know,
inside.
And you'll get hammered anyway. You'll get hammered for saying...
You're damned if you do.
Yeah, because self-pitying, I had when my son... I was spreading awareness for my son. We forgave the person that did this to him, and we're spreading awareness about his. Well, actually, the BBC wanted to put. We didn't actually seek them; they wanted to put a thing on it, and I thought, actually, if we can make other people aware, because my son was born healthy, that this condition was a mistake, but it can happen to anyone because it's actually getting more common, and it's from jaundice. Normal jaundice that people get. Jaundice can cause damage. People don't know. If you don't know what that's about, look at mylittlespartan.com. But
I'll put a link in the comments for that, folks.
Yeah, but the reality is, I thought to myself, the one thing I can do is my son's memory, because it could become that. The reality is that there is a life expectancy of people like my child, and it breaks my freaking heart. Yeah. And actually, many friends have died younger than my son now, who's 7. And the worst thing is like you just don't know what's around the corner. So I thought, what can I do? I don't want anyone to go through that. So I thought, okay, I'll answer, and we do an article on it in the paper, and it was a really great paper, and we even forgave the people that did it because we know they didn't do it deliberately, although it's hurt our family. But we got trolls. Oh my God, the cost of the NHS. I'm like, what the hell?
That's a great segue into internet trolls and bullying. Yeah. Okay, now I'm an ex-cop. I can't abide bullying at all, and whether it's online or whether it's face-to-face or however it's delivered, bullying is bullying. Now, I think there's a fine line between making people aware and awareness and bullying. Now, I know that you've been through a lot of trolling. Trolling? How do you say it?
Trolling, I say trolling. Yeah.
Over the years, and all of which has been unjustified. I get trolled every day, and I think the more you put yourself out there, the more you will get trolled. But there is so much out there right now, and so much, and every day I wake up and it's almost like the first thing I've got to do is go and delete all my troll messages, and then I can start my day. Yeah. What's it all about? I mean, listen, I don't want to mention any names.
No, you won't.
I don't want to put anybody out there or anyone
People
in the
will know
spotlight.
who anyway.
I don't want any battles, but I just want your opinion on, what's going on. Is it justified?
There are elements of it that are justified. I'm not going to, but not trolling. There are elements of calling out. Because sometimes people do not have a avenue to call out. Now, people talk about legislation to change, make regulation regulation in the property market, for instance, in training and stuff like that. Now, there's a thing on that I kind of like wonder about, and it's like this is a bubble we're in, and there's thousands of different niches that people are in, and if that is the sort of thing that they need to do it across the board, because
it's not going to happen.
It's not going to. I mean,
the government
I'm
have
in
got
marketing.
far more important things to do than to regulate the property training industry.
There's some serious marketers, and because I come from a marketing background, and they are spammy as Yeah. And they promise the world and everything like that, and they need more regulation than property. Trust me.
Yeah.
Right.
But you've got it, Mike. In every industry, there are going to be bad players and good players, And at the moment, and whether it's not, it's just because our thoughts are in that because it's the industry that we're in. But I used to work as a cop, Okay, I know there were cops that used to work with me in the stations that were sacked for doing things badly. You know, you're going to get a good cop, you're going to get a bad cop. I mean, look at I don't know, what should we pick on? Look at the accountancy industry. You're going to get great accountants, and then you're going to get accountants that work for Valerie Patisserie that have ripped the company off for God knows how many millions of pounds. Well, it's the same in every industry.
You saw the recent troll on me, didn't you?
I did, yeah.
Which is like, it's just madness.
All right, so let's just tell everybody that's listening.
So in a particular group, someone spoke about, don't you hate that moment when someone's on stage and they cry for basically a sale, was the context of the post, to do, number one, I never, ever.
And that was one of my events, right?
That was one of your events.
They were saying that they remember seeing Michael Kalisperas
crying on stage,
saying how Rick Gannon had changed his life, and Michael was crying on the stage. So number one, you've only ever spoken at one of my events, and that was a long time ago. That was probably back in 2016.
Probably, and he said 17.
And number two, you never ever sold anything from the stage, because we don't allow that.
No.
And number three, you have never ever cried
no.
in my presence.
Or anyone else's.
And number four, I very much doubt that I've changed your life. You've done that. And there have been other people that have influenced everything that you've done.
Exactly. Well, I said straight and honestly, my son's changed my life. He's been the fire in my heart. And the reality is, when people mock a story like you've got a backstory, they're forgetting there's... I appreciate there's people out there where there might be, oh, my dog died when I was 1 year old, you know, or something that's just like used to create an environment to...
But you and I have got very different...
They're very real, major, recent...
but similar.
Exactly.
That's not an oxymoron.
Yeah, exactly. And like you said, I've never... In fact, people phone me up, I'm constantly giving free... I mean, I need to go more the other way. My time is valuable. My time is valuable because I've got my son who's life limited. I need to provide for my family, and I should be selling more. Yeah,
people don't see what goes on in your life, and it's just too easy for them to get on the keyboard and start. So, I mean, I put a post on LinkedIn. It was I don't know, maybe 3 months ago now. Yeah. Right. I put a post on LinkedIn, and that post was how I've come to learn that material items aren't actually that important to me. All right. So I'll put a link in the comments so you can have a look at it. But the post was a photo of my car, and it was the day I picked it up, which was just shy of 3 years ago. It was in the showroom with my private number plate on it, and I was really proud because I just bought myself this beautiful sports car, cost loads of money, and I took a photo of it. And then over the preceding 2.5 years, the car did about 8,000 miles. It was parked up on my drive. It was parked up pretty much all the time, and it was costing me £50 a day. That's what it worked. Well, that's how much it cost me in the end in depreciation. Yeah. And I had this moment. I thought, you know what? For what I'm paying for that car and the depreciation, I could be creating more memories for my kids, and I could go on an extra holiday.
And it was an honourable post.
And it was an honourable post, and that post took me 3 minutes to write, and it was from the heart.
Yeah.
So, oh my God, right? Within what, 3 days, it had 2.5 million views, 20,000 likes, 20,000 dislikes, and God knows how many comments.
Let's rewind. Right? Let's dissect this.
But hang on, right? Because I split my audience completely down the middle. Yeah. Because some people were like, oh my God, the car's not real. Because I've been onto the DVLA. Some people even went onto the DVLA website, right, to search whether the car was real. Well, first of all, the number plate was on retention because I sold the car. Yeah. And secondly, it wasn't 3 years old. No. So it's not going to be on the bloody DVLA MOT website. Yeah, yeah. And then other people were like, oh, you knob, you know, this is like a humble brag, which it absolutely was not. No. And then on the other side, people are like, yeah, I totally get it. Yeah. Because my kids are not going to remember me on my deathbed saying, my dad had a great car. Yeah. They'll remember me for taking them on beautiful holidays.
But like I said, let's dissect this. Hang on a minute. We just talked about when we first came in here, the stresses of running a business. Yeah. It doesn't matter what business you're in, we all stress. And we need, for sanity of life, to create memories, but also for ourselves. It's not just for our children, for ourselves. So you had a moment there where you experienced that, and it was a nice experience, and then you had an epiphany moment where it was like, right, okay, I don't really need this now, but you might go back into a point where you might want another nice car, and the point is, the cyberbullying might put you off that.
It just went crazy, honestly. I'm going to do a post separately on my podcast and on my YouTube channel, just to show people the comments.
I know. So I saw it. I stuck up for you.
I know. But then this went viral, right?
Yeah.
So it went on. It went onto Twitter
Yeah.
on something called the State of LinkedIn. I don't know what that's all about. Then it went on to something called Goosebump or something. So there's a country, not a countrywide. There's a worldwide website for memes and trolls.
Right.
And it hit number 7. It hit number 7, and it's worldwide. This
they get posted into these sort of places.
It went absolutely crazy.
See, the thing is like, you know, I wrote a very fair response, and it was literally just deleted. So I wrote another very fair response, not knocking the person, because I can understand how strangers might think, oh, it might be a humble brag. But actually,
but it wasn't.
No. If you didn't read it, so if someone went to it straight away, they would. This is the problem.
Yeah,
people
do not know you.
No, they don't know you, or
they
don't read.
You know, people that do know us, they know that. You know what? I don't flower shit up. You know, I don't tell people the dream. I tell people, anyone that follows me and my content on Facebook, or follows you and your content on Facebook, and you've got a podcast as well, then they'll know that they get, you know, all of the good and all of the bad.
Yeah.
And if you can make it work, great. If you can't, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But, you know, those kind of posts and the posts that you put out there are literally from the heart, you know, and those are my feelings at that time. I've made mistakes, and probably one of those mistakes was buying that car in the first place.
No, it wasn't a mistake.
But I've learned.
No, that wasn't. Sorry,
I'm not having another one.
It's not.
You can't talk me into it.
No. It was not a mistake. At the end of the day, the amount of people that are going through all this sort of like, you know, journey in their life, and they're trying to get something that they really, you know, they want to aspire to.
Yeah.
And
it's hard, isn't it? Bringing up disabled children is not easy.
It's not easy.
So let's get back to this troll thing then, Michael, because there's a lot of this shit going on at the moment. So let's talk about the property training industry. What are your thoughts on the property training industry? Because there's a lot of stuff out there right now. There's a lot of media coverage, a lot of press. I don't want to name anybody. You know, I don't want to insinuate anyone's doing it right or wrong, but I just wanted to know really what your thoughts were.
My honest, genuine thoughts are, I feel like I've gone back to the 14th century, and it's kind of like you get one or two people, and it's like, hang him, stone him. I really feel like that.
And burn them at the stake.
Burn them at the stake. Oh, they know astrology. What's all that? You know, they're educated. Burn them. You know, they're trying to teach people astrology. Burn them at the stake. It's strange. But, and there is a but, there is definitely an area where a lot of what they say is true. So I've got to be fair. There's a fine line.
Yeah.
The problem is...
There isn't there. There's that line between bullying and actually making people aware.
Yes. So, like...
where are we with that? Does it constantly move?
I think it can move. But the thing is, I think what needs to happen is what these groups and vigilante sectors of the industry are doing, they're not necessarily helping themselves even, because they're becoming what they're knocking.
I was going to say that. Do you think there's a point where people actually become the person that they're trying to expose?
I'll give you an example.
No names.
No. I'll give you an example on me. So it's the best example is to give you one on me. When my son was made disabled, me and my wife were physically diagnosed with PTSD.
After your son became disabled?
After my son became disabled. And literally, I was kind of like, I think I was like a zombie for a good few years. Then when I was coming out of it, I realised I need to do something different. So actually jumping into paid training forced me to focus, be around people that were focusing and wanted to aspire and do something. So for me, it helped me.
And it worked, because you went out and you did it.
And I did it, and it worked, but it was freaking hard.
You know, I've had property training.
Yeah.
You know, I've been on property courses.
Yeah.
And again, you're surrounded by the right kind of people. You do get knowledge, and you will get an element of people that don't do anything.
If I say in one of those groups, actually, I found it quite good. It helped me.
Then people would just jump on you.
They jump on you and this is where the bullying comes. It's like, this is bullying.
Well, you're a fanboy, you know.
Yeah. There's no two ways about it. It's bullying. Yeah. If you're forced to change your mind and you were given a fair representation, well, I wasn't sold to, or, I didn't feel like my arm was twisted, or I felt like it helped me. Even if you feel it hasn't helped you, like at the point, You learn.
But people say that, and this is one of the stock responses. I didn't need any training. I learned on the job, and there's plenty of free information out there on the internet.
But then people ask for mentors.
But there's lots of elements. If that works for you, then great. But you know what? I provide loads of free content on my channels, on all of my Facebook groups and my social media, but you've got to know what to look for. So if for example, let's talk about the health and safety regulations, so CDM regulations. If you don't know what that is, how the hell can you search for it? How do you know what to look for? So then people will cut that element out and then potentially put themselves at risk and commit offences by not doing it.
Exactly.
So there's that element. And then there's the other element of holding people to account, because we are human beings and we've got the fight or flight response, and we go down the path of least resistance because that is built into us. So if we go down the path of least resistance, we are programmed to survive, back to the Stone Age. We don't want to get eaten. So that's our comfort zone. And most people, 85% of people will be in that comfort zone. They won't get out of it. And if you're in that comfort zone, and you do the same thing today as you did yesterday, then tomorrow will be no different.
Yeah, and the thing of it, I mean, I'll be fully open and honest. I still suffer depression. And I don't think I'll ever fully be out of it. When you live with a child that's severely disabled, screams at the night, and it's hard to get out of. So for me, being amongst the network, it helps me. And I know there's a lot of people out there that need...
But then people would say, Michael, well, there are free networks out there that you could join. You could go to all sorts of...
I mean, even create your own. Yeah. I mean, I've created my own. I've got my own group and so on. But I mean, it's just being connected with people is key, because people get isolated. And in business, you can feel isolated. That's why there's, all these other micro events. I won't say names, but there's some events out there, well-known ones, networking events, like breakfast events and stuff like that, well-known ones, where some people get ripped off in, between members and things.
Not everyone is as honest as you and I. I mean, that's the fact of this. There's always somebody out there that wants to either belittle you, or here's another thing, right? I'm not going to talk about this today, but I'm going to. We're on the roll. People that position themselves and say... I can give you an example. I'm going to make this up, but this is the kind of thread. I've seen a lot of posts recently about this, that, and the other, and I don't think these people are doing this right because they should be doing it like this and that and this and that and this and that. And you know what? I'm different. Come on my course.
That does really grate me as well.
I don't know what you'd call that. I don't know, but it's positioning themselves, saying that everyone else is shit, and then you read it, and underneath it's just a post to get them.
I've had it in my group, and they'll come in, and then they'll find out that the people they're supporting are actually turn out to be quite dodgy, or rip people off.
How do people get away with? Not get away with. How do people conduct their own due diligence to make sure that if they are looking for property education, or if they are looking for mentorship or coaching, with all of this that's going on at the moment, how do you differentiate the good guys, girls, and bad guys and girls?
Honestly, I think it's very difficult. I think what we have to do as people is take responsibility. We have to analyse the situation as it comes. No one can read into someone's head, and no one could have known I had depression at the time.
I mean, how would, unless I physically said to you, on a call, are you suffering from depression? I mean, that's kind of a personal question.
No, it's a very personal question. And, I've been open on my personal page of the struggles. And I made a decision to do that because it helped so many people.
Yeah.
And spreading awareness actually saved 7 children from going through what my son's gone through.
That's awesome.
So I don't give a crap what trolls say, or you share your story again.
Well, that's it, isn't it? Because you know deep down inside.
It's not about me.
It's
not even about me. I don't even do it that much. But the thing is, if you do it once in a year, they'll be it's too much.
When I was a cop, people used to take a pop at me all the time because you'd expect it. But they were taking a pop at the uniform. So now I'm not a cop anymore. And people take a pop at me that have never met me. It's kind of a little bit more personal. But why do people think that that's okay?
I think honestly, they don't even realise it themselves, but they have their own issues going on in their heads.
I think people must be on the plot when they're posting this.
No, a lot of people. It's that thug mentality. Like I said, going back to the 14th century, the people might have supported Robin Hood, for instance. I'm not saying that you're Robin Hood, but let's just say someone that was doing good, or doing good as best they could. He still paid his men. He still had to pay his services. He still had to, support their living. But what happens is when the leaders or the people that, you know, want to hang him or stone him, the people start getting to this vigilante. It's like, yeah, you see all these people like with one tooth kind of throwing stones at people, at this person they once kind of like. There's a danger of that. And it's a bit of a weird analogy, but that's how I kind of see it.
Yeah, I agree with that. And like anything, you know, in the police law, there's one side of the story, and then there's the other side of the story, and then in the middle sits the truth somewhere.
But there's a secret supporter, isn't there?
Yeah.
There's the fake supporter. That's why you're on the up.
Yeah.
And then when you're up there, they might, like I say, they might not realise it. They might be slightly envious, right? There might be other reasons. Maybe they just don't like your tone of voice. Maybe they just don't like the look of you.
Some people, one minute they'll be an absolute raving fan, and they say, I love this, I love this, I love this, and you're great, and this, that, and the other. And then about a month later, they're on the other team, and they're like, I hate you, I don't like you, this is wrong, and that's wrong, and this is wrong, and there doesn't seem to be any loyalty.
Well, I tend to sort of like make my own judgments.
Yeah.
And so I want everyone who's watching this and listening to this, they make their own judgments as well. And the reality is, like, you know, I can have an opinion, but someone else can have a different opinion, and I'm fully respectful of that. It's when people try and shove opinions down people or bully people into a different opinion. There are people in other groups that have tried to give their opinion, and then they get bombarded, and they just to calm it down because they're not confrontational. They say, "Yeah, I see what you mean, mate. Yeah." You know what I mean?
As soon as you challenge them.
As soon as they've been challenged, these people sort of like buckle down because that's bullying.
Is this going to stop? You know, I mean, you know.
No, I think it's the beginning.
Do you?
I think it's the beginning.
So there's going to be a lot of excitement. People eating their popcorn.
I think it's the trend. If you look what's going on, and like I said, I do marketing. It's the trend. It's disruptive. People have made money through different niches, and it's not just property. I want to get really straight up and honest as a marketer as well. Having worked for the BBC, now where people say, and again, I've not got my own courses like at this sort of level, but where some people take it higher as they grow, in terms of the course costs and stuff like that. But what people don't realise is when people sell a course. And they have a room full of God knows how many people, etc. It costs money. When they are sharing their knowledge, it costs money through Facebook ads. It's not cheap. When they're literally putting on the staff to help them run the event, and this is me, I'm not running my own event. I'm going to help someone with theirs, but the reality is, I don't understand how people do not see the logic behind certain costs. Now, some people go in too far and go too deep and so on. But there is a logical cost to things. But some people think, oh, it's not worth it. I mean, I remember seeing a post where someone goes, I paid, I can't remember how much it was £1,000, whatever it was. I only came back with this folder full of stuff. And I'm thinking, what did you expect, a house? You've just come out of the training. You've got a folder. What do you? But
you're going to get the knowledge that's being delivered as well, surely.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously that knowledge. Obviously, if they don't give the knowledge further on, that's a different story.
Yeah. So anyway, right?
Yeah.
Let's park that bit now. So we've talked about the trolls and stuff. We're parking it.
Yeah.
We're parking it. What's the future holding for you then? So I know you want to sell one of your properties right now. What is your main focus at the moment? I know your son's always going to be there, but in terms of your income and future proofing.
Oh, for me, I've always been since college, university, been working for the BBC, etc. I've always been into marketing. It's always my thing. I design marketing. So I still focus on that.
Still doing your marketing?
Still do that.
Are you still doing your printing as well?
I've got sources to do it, but I don't do it in-house anymore. Yeah. See, for me, the property was a situation where I was like, what do I do with the situation with my son? So it was, I need something to be a little bit more stable. And yes, there's headaches in it, and I still will grow a property, but I'll go at my pace.
So you did a My Little Spartan
Yeah, there's I wrote a book called My Little Spartan. .com. No, I wrote a book called My Little Spartan. There's an old website called mylittlespartan.com about my son. Yeah. And it was literally just built for awareness.
And how can people get hold of the book?
The book's on Amazon.
So if they go onto Amazon and look for My Little Spartan, I'll put a link in the comments.
It's a bestseller.
Yeah. I'll put a link in the comments.
Yeah.
And that just, before people cast doubt on everything that you do. They need to know a little bit more about what.
Well, people would just say, "Oh, it's a fake bestseller," and nothing like that. It's real.
You know, sometimes,
and there's no promotions of books or training or anything like that in it.
My Facebook group, right, we've got nearly 16,000 people in that group.
Yeah.
And it is a very active group, and I give so much time and content in there. So I get accused of, number one, Rick, I might post an advert in there myself for me probably once every 6 weeks. That's it. And if I do that, I'll be, it's too salesy. It's a veiled sales group. That's all it is. There's not enough content. And then if I post a load of content, now this is a real story. So I took that on board on one comment. So I went out to one of my pubs because I've got like, we've got pubs and stuff. And I just did a walkthrough in the pub and what we plan to do with it and the grounds. And then the comments underneath were, all you do is swing your dirk and show people how much property you've got.
You can't win.
Oh my God!
You just can't win. It's like the reality is, this is the reality. You'll never satisfy everyone.
It's crazy. You're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't.
Damned if you do.
Folks, I hope you enjoyed that. I think we're probably about an hour in. I think that's a great, Michael and I are probably going to go out for lunch now. We're going to continue this off camera and we're going to shoot the breeze for a little bit, put the worlds to rights. So I'm going to post the links to Michael's book and his website in the comments down below. For those watching on the YouTube channel, for those listening on the podcast, I'll do exactly the same in the description of the podcast. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it's enlightened you a little bit. There's a place for everything and there's a time for everything. We just have to make sure that it's balanced. So if you like my videos, folks, please click on the subscribe button. Make sure that you're subscribed so you can see all our future workshops and videos. And if you're listening on the podcast, please leave a review. It will inspire us to do more of these interviews and keep us going. Until next time, folks, take care.
Bye-bye.